Yeah. All right. Looks like the judges on the bench, jury's there, and the first witness has just been called. Let's get you in for live testimony. This is week 2 of Ohio versus Stanley Ford.
Good morning, sir. If you would just push that screen it's forward. Note the whole thing, the whole arm moves. Yeah, there you go. That way the attorneys can see you and we can all see you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. If you would introduce yourself to the jury by telling them your full name and spell your last name for the record.
My name is Brandon Reedy, R-E-E-D-Y.
And how are you?
Currently about 16 and a half years.
All right. And do you have what's your current title or rank?
I'm currently a lieutenant. I'm a company officer. That means on a daily basis I'm in charge of a piece of fire apparatus and 3 to 7 employees.
All right. Prior to working for the Akron Fire Department for the last 16 years?
16 and a half.
Did you have any other firefighting experience?
I worked for Jackson Township Fire Department on a part-time basis about a year and a half prior to getting hired at Akron.
All right. And so that the jurors know, we've had prior firefighters come in and testify about the qualifications. So I'm going to have you just briefly tell us what training you went through in order to become a firefighter.
Akron puts all hires, whether they're certified or not, through a 15-week academy where they go over the state minimum training. The state will say that you need to dedicate X number of hours to a certain topic. Typically, if that was something they're doing on their own through university or a private charter, that would take about 8 weeks. Akron Fire does 15. That way you get more hands-on time and there's more repetition.
All right, so the state requires
260 hours is what the state requires.
All right, but in order to be an Akron firefighter, you have to do 16.
Typically, yeah, you use 15 weeks or so. It's a sliding scale. I mean, once you meet the minimum standard, the state says you're good. Depending on what we have available as far as funding and time-wise, Akron goes between 12 and 15 weeks.
All right, and so you did that for the Akron. Did you also go through training for your prior
I did.
experience?
So I went through the 8-week training prior to that. Like I said, Akron, because they host their own fire academy, you may have a class that has 25% of people who are already certified, but they've never worked at Akron. So Akron puts everyone through the same thing. So there's some uniformity when you come out and you're done.
So you've had more than the minimum 8, you've had at least 20 weeks.
Of basic firefighting, yes.
Okay. So when you started with the Akron Fire Department, you initially were on I think you call it an apparatus?
So we use the term apparatus, truck, equipment, kind of interchangeably. An apparatus would be a fire truck or an ambulance. So we use like truck, equipment, apparatus somewhat interchangeably.
All right. And so currently you are now the responsible fireman, the lieutenant in charge of a particular piece of equipment.
Yes.
Which type of equipment are you in charge of?
So like right now, actually, I'm on what they call ops. So I'll float around. I'm kind of the substitute teacher. If people are off on vacation, I'll go in and fill at a different station.
All right. And how long have you been a lieutenant?
I've been a lieutenant for 6 years.
Okay. So let me direct your attention specifically back to April 18th, 2016. You were obviously working at that time as an Akron fireman, correct?
Yes.
And were you a lieutenant at that time?
I was a lieutenant. I was assigned to Station 6, so I was on Engine 6 that time.
And where is Station 6?
South Hawkins, I believe it's 1685 South Hawkins.
All right. Is that where you're currently stationed also?
My home base right now is Station 4, the headquarters Station 81 West Thornton. But depending again on staffing, I may be at Station 6, I may be at Station 13.
All right. So in April of 2016, you were at Station 6?
Correct.
On South Hawkins?
On a full-time basis.
On a full-time basis. And what was your assignment at that time?
I was a company officer for Station 6. At the time, Station 6 is what we call cross-manned, so we're cross-staffed. We would have 4 people on the engine, and then the ambulance would have 4 people on it as well. So if the ambulance went on a call, all 4 personnel would hop on the ambulance, and the engine would be there with no one to get on it.
All right. And so not only you're a fireman, you're an EMT also?
Paramedic, yes.
Okay. On that particular occasion, April 18th, 2016, were you working? Yes. What shift, or how do you guys work shifts?
So we divide the shifts into 3 line personnel shifts, the A shift, B shift, and C shift. We work a 24-hour shift and then rotate off for 48 hours. The A, B, or C just kind of notes a way to track it.
Okay. And so you work 24 hours, and do the shifts all start at the same time?
Correct. The shifts start at 7:30 in the morning. We work 24 hours, and we leave the next day at 7:30 in the morning.
All right. So on April 17th, you would have started at 7:30 in the morning if you were working April 18th at
Correct.
2 or 3 o'clock in the morning? Okay. And do you remember the particular equipment you were working on that occasion?
So we had engine 6, our normal frontline engine, and we had a med unit at the station as well.
And what was the second thing you said?
Ambulance.
Oh, an ambulance, okay. And so what type of, you said an engine, what's that, how does that differ from your other equipment, like, a ladder?
Okay, so I mean, in the fire service, there's 2 basic types of trucks. There's an engine that carries water and hose, and then there's a fire truck or the ladder truck that has ladders and the big ladder on top. They're kind of broken down on job responsibilities. The engine, having water and hose, is primarily responsible for fire suppression. The ladder truck, because they don't have water or hose, they do search and rescue, they control utilities, they put ladders up, and they do all the other functions.
So the equipment you were on that occasion was fighting the fire, suppressing?
Correct. Okay. Fire suppression.
Do you recall on that occasion of April 18, 2016, having to go on a call?
Yes.
What time would you have gotten that call?
Approximately 3:40. If you have the dispatch notes, I can give you an exact time.
Yes. Oops. Is that what you were asking for?
Yes, sir. So the call, we were initially dispatched, which means the tone came across the PA at 3:40 in the morning.
And that is the tone you talked about, that comes into the fire station?
Correct. So, I mean, the process is, I mean, someone dials 911, someone in dispatch answers, gets the information, relays it to a dispatcher, and the dispatcher notifies us.
All right, and that's by a tone?
Yeah, there'll be an audible alarm, and then the dispatcher come across, they read off the address, the nature of the call, and any information they may have at the time.
So you said they came in around 3:40?
Correct.
And how long, is there a standard amount of time that your unit then takes or is, required to get ready in time to leave?
So the national standard for turnout time from the time the dispatch call comes in until we leave the station is approximately 1 minute.
All right, and is that pretty much followed routinely with the Akron Fire Department?
Yes.
All right. So I know you were probably not timing yourself during this occasion, but is there any reason to think that you weren't just on your way within that minute or so?
No, if you look at the times, it's a little skewed because since it's a voice dispatch system, you can't talk on the radio and while the dispatchers are talking. So when we got dispatched and we started going en route, they received multiple calls, so they upgraded the call. So the notes kind of reflect at like 3:41, there's a second tone going out for more units. So we would have been en route then, we just couldn't respond back.
Okay, and so you said that there was another tone for more units. So how does that work?
So typically, the first call, if it doesn't, depending on how the caller sounds, dispatch it as like a house fire 1 or a house fire 2, and each classification is kind of a preset number of units dispatched. When they start getting multiple calls, people calling with the same fire in the same area, it upgrades to a house fire 2 and they add more units.
All right, so that means a 2 would be more serious, more equipment needed.
Yes.
All right, and so this was that occasion.
Correct.
So you're on your way. Do you know what time you would have arrived on scene?
We arrived on scene at 3:44.
All right, and that's 3:44 a.m.
Correct.
All right, or military time.
Yes.
What address did you what address did you get dispatched to?
I believe it's 719 Fultz.
And is that in the city of Akron, Summit County, Ohio?
Yes, sir.
All right. I am going to show you some slides here from State's Exhibit 37, which was previously identified by Ellis Polk. I'm going to show you slide number 2. Do you recognize this?
Can I adjust
Oh,
this?
yeah, I'm sorry. Now you can turn it towards you.
Okay. Yeah, that's the address or the street sign for Fultz and Hillcrest.
All right, so that would be the intersection.
Closest to the house was on fire.
All right, so do you see that house behind the sign?
I do?
Do you recognize that house at all? If you don't, that's
I
okay.
do not.
All right. So moving, slide number 3 of 21, slide number 3 of State's Exhibit 37 is a title page indicating the exterior of 719 Fultz.
Okay.
So we're going to go now to slide 4. Do you recognize this?
I do.
And that slide also identifies slide D, I believe, in the lower right corner. What is that?
That is a picture of 719 Fultz after the fire has been put out. That'd be the approximate view that we had when we arrived on scene. You can see the front side of the building. In our terminology, we use Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta to kind of segment off which side of the building it is. Right, left, front doesn't work really well when you're inside the building. If I'm talking to someone on the inside and I say left, they may be facing a different direction. So we use Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta, with Alpha being the front of the house.
So right now, the front of the house we're looking at is the Alpha side, correct?
Correct.
All right, and you said this was clearly after the fire had been put out?
Yeah, obviously there's no flame, but you can also see people on the inside, and we don't have their air packs on. If the house was actually actively burning, then it'd be hot and there'd be poisonous gases, and they'd be wearing their air packs.
I see. So let me show you what's been previously identified as State's Exhibit number 16. Okay. I know that there's a glare, but can you see that?
I can see it.
And you've seen this prior to this scene
Yes.
here now. Do you recognize this?
719 Fultz.
All right. And how do you recognize that?
It's a rough approximation of what we saw pulling up. Our view would be from the opposite direction. We're coming down Fultz. That picture appears to be being taken going up Fultz.
All right. And so in this photograph, since you said your view initially was from the other direction, did you have an opportunity to compare this to the pictures of the known pictures of the dress you saw and fought the fire?
Correct.
Okay. So when you arrived on the scene, and if you need to, right in front of you, on next to the microphone is a pointer.
Okay.
Push the button on that pointer, there should be a green dot that
Yes.
shows up. If you can, show us what direction you arrived on scene.
So Station 6 would have been to the upper right of this picture. So we came up Moore Street, came down East Avenue here, and turned down Fultz.
All right. Now, was there some issues with getting closer to the house initially?
So when we first pulled up, there was a power line down in the front yard. From where it attaches to the house, because of the bulk of the fire, that had burned away, dropping the lines into the front yard, burning off the coating, so they were actually sparking in the front yard.
All right. And so that power line was live,
Correct.
and it was across the street?
It was across the street, and it kind of bisected the front yard here.
Okay. And
So it kind of limited our operations to the left-hand side of the building.
all right. And so did another unit come the other direction?
Correct. Engine 4 came up from Fultz Street approximately this way.
All right. And does that hinder your ability to fight a fire?
It does. I mean, typically we like to have access to all four sides. The initial truck will usually be the one that pull the hose lines off of. So it kind of bisects the yard, prevents engine 6 from going to that side of the yard. It also limits how close we can get to it. I mean, water and electricity don't mix. And even a power line on the ground on dirt, the electricity can travel through the dirt depending on how the moisture content, and we're throwing water at the house. So we still have to kind of maintain like a 20-foot distance from that line.
And when you arrived at the house, can you describe how I guess, engulfed it was?
So there was pretty heavy fire involvement from the alpha side, the front porch area. We could see it burning under the porch, and kind of you saw in that picture, it was rolling outside the porch. When we had arrived, though, it was actually a little bit worse, and it's kind of burning up the outside structure of the alpha side.
All right, and I want to just, unfortunately, go back to this other picture here for a second. So when we look at this picture and see this area right here,
Correct.
is that the house or is it?
That's the house next door. It's kind of hard to see, but if you look at the edge of the flame, you can kind of see where it curves. That's where it's rolling out from underneath the porch. The decking of the porch allows it to roll out and over. Kind of on the right-hand side of the picture, you can see the tall part of the flame too.
Now, I believe, Judge, can he draw on that as it is now?
He can.
So you can actually, with your finger, draw.
Okay.
In the right-hand corner, up top, sorry, should be. You may have to allow for. Let's see, oh, there we go. Oh, yep, and then from there should be a highlighter or on the,
Right.
I think that, yeah.
So the roof line is going to roughly be this general area right there. The portion next to it that you're indicating is another house.
Okay. So from this picture, when you arrived, was it more or less engulfed than you see in the picture?
There is more.
Okay. Now, of course, this is on the...
From the opposite direction.
All right. So you arrive on scene, and when you arrive on the scene...
Lieutenant, so hit that, and then there's a clear all button. There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And after the fire was over, and just because I wanted, while we still have this picture up, were you able to observe the delta side of the house?
Yes.
Or the right side of the house? And was there a door on that right side?
Yes.
And could you point to where you believe in this photograph that door would have been?
The door will be roughly over in here, I believe. It's kind of hard to tell spatial relationships, but it was kind of on the driveway side. There was a red fence around it, kind of leading into the entrance.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
And is this poster board up here have a March or something that he's referred to already?
Oh, yes, that is 12.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so back to our slides of State's Exhibit number 37. When you get there, you showed us which direction you come. What's the first thing you guys do?
The first thing I do as a company officer is I give a size up. I report on scene. I get on the radio and report what kind of conditions we have. And then we kind of denote what we're going to do, what type of measure we're going to take to attack the fire. On this fire, we took a blitz attack. So what that means is typically on a normal fire where it's smaller, we take the hose line in initially and put the fire out immediately. Because the bulk of the fire that was occurring, it's not safe for us to make entry. We have a pre-plumbed waterway on our truck, kind of like a turret almost, that doesn't involve stretching hose line. It flows a large volume of water. So we chose to implement a blitz attack, trying to knock down the amount of fire, so that way we could pull the hoses off and make an interior attack.
All right, and when you're dispatched, are you made aware of whether there's individuals inside the house or not?
Typically, yes.
And were you on this occasion?
We were.
And so when you arrive, why don't you just all jump off the truck and run inside to save these people?
So again, obviously with the bulk of the fire, it's pretty massive. Our turnout gear protects us some from heat, but it's not flame proof. Typically the outside shell of your turnout gear is about 900 degrees it's rated to. The plastic face piece on your SBA is about 400 degrees. Open free burning flame like that's about 1200 degrees. we would go in and pretty much immediately be compromised.
All right. So at that point in time, you got to suppress the fire to some degree in order to even get inside?
Correct.
All right. And that's what you said you did with the blitz attack?
Yes, the blitz attack is just, it's supposed to be a rapid way to bring a large volume of water onto the fire to cool it and put the flames out.
All right. And so is there a point in time where you believe you can get into these houses? How do you determine that?
So it's kind of a judgment call based on what you're seeing on scene. With this fire, because it kind of spread so intensively inside the structure, we blitz attacked it, we dumped our tank on it. The engines in Akron carry 500 gallons of water on the truck. That way we don't need to immediately hook up to a hydrant. It gives us some time to get water on the fire quickly. So we did the blitz attack, we dumped our tank on it. I believe engine 4 did as well. We hook up to a hydrant. Again, that was hindered because we had to go kind of out and around the down power line. At that time when we had water again, there was still a lot of fire in the back half of the structure. So we didn't have access again to the door on the Delta side. So we took hose lines, as you can kind of see in this picture, down the Bravo side, and we're spraying windows, second floor window on the front, and then the kind of bay window you see on the Bravo side.
And I'm not sure if you would say this or not. Were you and your unit the first on the scene?
Correct.
Okay. So once the other, well, and I should ask you, what other equipment showed up that day?
So engine 6 was first on scene. Engine 4 coming up the hill showed up approximately about a minute and a half later. Behind engine 4 would have been ladder 4. And then other apparatus showed up, tower 10, and then kind of gets cut off here, but there are other apparatus on scene.
All right. So within a minute and a half, you had an engine that was fighting the fire on the
Delta side.
The Delta side and the B side.
Correct.
Showing you slide 5 or letter E of State's Exhibit 37. What is this?
It's the Bravo side. It's kind of where our operations were limited to at first. You can kind of see how the fire burned up the Bravo side and towards the roof line. We also had a decent amount of fire on the inside of this back corner. Back in here would have been the living room. And most of building construction in Akron is pretty similar. You have a bay window like that. 99% of the time it's a dining room. There is a decent bulk of fire in there as well. We're spraying water in there too.
All right, and we'll get to some photos there. Showing you now slide 6 or letter F of State's Exhibit 37. And this would again be a similar photograph.
And in this photo you can kind of see where the power line is down in the front yard. By this time I believe Edison was on scene and had disconnected the power.
Okay. And actually in this photograph, you can see some lights on the inside of the house. Is that what that is?
Referencing the top left corner of the home?
Yeah, I guess I'm not. I thought my marker was showing, but it's not. Yes.
So, roughly here?
Right.
That would have been firefighters on the inside of the structure.
All right. So that's how badly it was burned, that you can actually see people inside through the walls.
Correct.
And there, I think, is a more close-up view. Is that fair?
Yes.
And this area here looks to be completely open. What would that area have been?
That would have been where the porch roof was attached.
And that's slide 7 of State's 37. And going now to slide 8, what are we looking at here?
You're looking at the Alpha side, Alpha Delta corner. That would be typically the front door. You can see the railing there, and you can see the remnants of the porch after it collapsed.
All right. And slide 9.
Just a view of the Alpha side. Again, you can kind of see the amount of fire damage at the front door, on the front side of the house, and then the opening into the second floor.
All right. And slide 10.
This Alpha Delta corner, you can see there's a hose line going into the second floor from the outside, and you can see a firefighter down by the door on the Delta side.
Now, when you went in, did you actually go into the house yourself?
Eventually, later on in the incident.
All right. And so you were able then to see the insides of this house?
Correct.
And then slide number 11, what is this?
That was the door previously referenced on the Delta side.
Okay. And do you, this, oh, hold on, I can't see it. Above that door, it seems to be some discoloration between the door and the window where the fireman is standing.
Yes.
What is that?
It's heat damage. The aluminum's painted. As it gets warm, the paint starts to wear off. So you can kind of see a pretty sharp delineation where the heat plume came up and out. It may not have been active flame because everything has a temperature where it burns. 1 degree below that, it's still super hot. It's just not actually burning.
All right. And so why would we see a discoloration above the door as opposed to the left or the right of the door?
I mean, heat comes out and rises up. It kind of makes a weird pattern. Typically, it would be a V-ish. There may have been some other factors in play here that kind of made it go to the left a little bit.
And now going to slide 12, what are we looking at here?
That would be the Charlie Delta corner, the right side in the back.
And slide 13?
That would be a close-up view of that side door and the hose line going into it.
All right. And inside there, what do we see? I see the hose, and there appears to be some steps.
Some steps, again, if I had to guess, just based off my prior experience, you had steps to the left of the basement. You have about 3 or 4 steps up to a landing. You make a right, and you're going to end up in the kitchen.
All right. And slide 14?
That would be the kitchen.
Okay. Slide 15?
I'm not sure exactly where that'd be located in the structure, but that's the inside of it.
All right. And can you see over on the upper left corner? It appears that there's some.
Okay, so that would be, I believe, the house next door. So this would probably be the dining room then. So you would have made a right into the kitchen. If you made an immediate left, that would open up to this.
Okay. And slide 16?
This would be coming back around, making another left to the front living room area.
And slide 17?
Just kind of another picture of the living room. You can see the trucks in the front of the street. Or kind of.
Reflective lights?
Yeah.
Okay. Some kind of vehicle. And then slide 18?
Those would be the stairs going up to the second floor.
And Lieutenant Reedy, did you have the opportunity to go up these steps of this house?
We did toward later in the incident, checking for fire extension in the front bedrooms.
And when you were upstairs, were you able to see if there was anybody in the house?
Oh, I did. Look to the right into the bathroom. At that point, it was basically no one was allowed to go in there since there was an investigation going on.
All right. At that point in time, was there any life-saving measures?
Negative. That would have been probably 2 or 3 hours into the incident.
All right. And did you have any involvement with the removing of the people that were found?
No.
All the pictures that we've looked at, slides 1 through 18 of State's Exhibit number 37, do they accurately represent the scene as you saw it during that evening?
They do.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Mr. Riley?
We have no questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, Lieutenant, you're excused. Thank you very much.